So today on Miles from Main Street.
Get rid of it. It's gone.
Nemo! Nemo!
No, that would be cruel and unusual. I mean, if we're gonna go completely off the rails here, I'm going to Club 33.
Kristen can swim in the pool and then we will bulldoze it.
I'm setting up a hammock and a lawn chair.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejados de
This
las
here's
puertas.
a wild rhino vista.
We've got the whole gang here. We've got Brian and Tammy and Kylo and Kristen. How we doing, guys?
We're doing good, Mikhailo. How are you doing today?
We're doing great. So I have put together a little game for us. Basically, I'm going to give everybody 3 resorts, and you have to decide which resort you would stay one fun night in, which resort you would stay every night in, and which resort you would completely flatten and bulldoze. And we're actually going to do value resorts, we're going to do moderate resorts, and we're going to do deluxe resorts. Does it sound fun?
Woohoo!
Sounds good to me.
Sounds good to me.
But before the fun begins, make sure you go out and share the show with a friend.
Yeah, so I've got 3 categories of resorts here, and we're going to go through all of them, and we're going to start with the value resorts. So the 3 value resorts I have chosen are the All-Stars, and that's going to be all 3 All-Stars, Art of Animation, and Pop Century. So again, we're doing which resort you would spend one fun night in, which resort you would spend every night in, and which resort you would completely flatten and bulldoze. So let's start with Brian.
It's always me. Okay, so I'm having trouble with the values because to spend the rest of my life living in a hotel as busy as one of the value resorts is a little daunting to begin with.
That's a good point.
Finding one that fits in as well, though, I would have to go with staying forever in Art of Animation. They have great suites. They have a great pool. The food is good, and it's a little bit more spread out. And if I'm really bored, there's usually an artist there drawing during the day, and I can go and talk to him. So, I would definitely go with Art of Animation to start with.
Mm-hmm.
My one night would be at Pop Century because I have access to the Skyliner still. Pop Century is equally as good, just not as well themed. I prefer the big Disney theming versus the big decades theming. I would then bulldoze the All-Stars because they're old, they're busy, and full of cheerleaders.
So are you saying that you would bulldoze the cheerleaders along with them?
No, that would be cruel and unusual.
Okay, good. Well, I agree with most of that. I think those are all pretty valid answers. Tammy, are you ready?
Sure. What would I do? I would do my one fun night at Pop as well. And I would do what would I take that back? I would bulldoze Pop. I would do my one fun night at Art of
Wow.
Animation. And I would live each night at the All-Stars because I have 3 to choose from. So I would get variety.
Oh.
Okay. All right.
So I do not dislike Pop, but I like Art of Animation a lot more. And if I had to stay somewhere for the rest of my life, at least if you pick the All-Stars, it gives you 3 different eateries, 3 different pools, 3 different, sets of scenery.
Yeah,
So,
I'm
that's
going
what
to
I would do.
bounce off of that because actually, Tammy, your list is the same as mine. I would,
Twinsies.
yeah. Um, I would stay at Art of Animation as my one fun night, just because I think like you could have a lot of fun in one of the suites at Art of Animation. And so I think that would be cool, just kind of having like the whole suite to be able to have fun in. Plus, I just think the whole resort, the resort as a whole, is a lot more fun. Like I think you could just have a lot of fun there. Um, and then I would bulldoze Pop Century. And I mean, this is coming from somebody who just recently stayed at Pop Century, and it's like I didn't have any huge issues with Pop Century. It's just not my thing. Like it doesn't feel very Disney, even though there are certain like areas that are like that have like Disney theming. Um, I don't know. It's like just the idea of Pop just feels weird. Like even staying there, and like the rooms were great, and we had a good time on that trip. I'm just still not a Pop Century fan. Um, and then I would spend every night for the rest of my life at the All Stars, and that's just kind of like nostalgia, really. I mean, Tammy has a really good point that like you'd be able to like stay at all three and just kind of like there's so much to do. But yeah, it kind of feels like home whenever I go there. So that's where I would spend the rest of my life.
The suite at like we stayed in the Little Mermaid suite, right? Or no, Finding Nemo. Sorry. But that is definitely a good choice if you have a family, because you have a separate bedroom with a door. So like, you need a baby to sleep, you have somewhere to put them, and you still have room to hang out. So that was one of the
Mhm.
things I really liked about that place.
One of the issues I was having with All Star is that you just have those random eateries, but I was reminded that coming out of COVID, All Star Movies was actually that cafeteria was actually looked at as one of the better quick services on property. And that was the same discussion as when they had the donut hamburger thing.
Yep.
So I think picking All Star is also a good choice if you're a foodie.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't one of the All Stars like All Star Sports? They have a suite or something, like a double room or something bigger.
That's actually music. Yeah, they have those
Music.
special suites, those family suites out in music. So yeah. Okay, Kristen, it's your turn.
I would also bulldoze Pop or just retheme it to also Art of Animation, like the just thrown up Disney theme.
Yeah.
And I would stay forever at Art of Animation. And if you stay at Art of Animation, you still have the option to like bounce around to suites. So you could stay in the car suites, the Finding Nemo, the Lion King, or Little Mermaid, which is my favorite. And I would love to spend every day of my life in fear on the Skyliner, actually.
Now that she thinks about it.
And my one fun night would be the All Stars, because that was the very first hotel that we've stayed at together. Well, that I've stayed at too. Yeah, we've had some fun trips at the All Stars.
Yeah, and I mean the All Stars are it's the hotels that I've stayed at most, and so just like throughout the years, I've had a lot of fun there. So I think All Stars is definitely like a solid answer.
Yeah, and I know Tammy said for All Stars that she had like 3 pools to choose from, but you probably have like 7.
Yeah.
Like
Definitely. Yeah.
because a couple have like multiple pools.
Mm-hmm.
Just got to get that big blue pool every day. I'd be in the big blue pool.
Do you guys remember when that first opened and the big blue pool had speakers underwater?
We were actually there when they had those and they were working.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
it was really cool.
Yeah, we went there in 2013, which I think was like the first year it was open. And those were working, and that was the only time that I got to experience that. And I thought, because at like sometimes it was music, and then sometimes it was like Marlin, like saying like Nemo, Nemo, and like you could go underwater, you can hear like Marlin and Nemo talking. It was pretty cool. Anyways, moving on to our next category, which is moderates. We've got Port Orleans, which is going to be both Riverside and French Quarter. We've got Coronado Springs, and we've got Caribbean Beach.
I was going to volunteer.
Oh, okay. Kristen, you go ahead.
Okay. I would stay forever at Port Orleans. Because I like Louisiana and New Orleans, and we've stayed at Riverside in the Royal Guest Rooms, where you have like the fireworks going off like over your bed, and that would just be amazing to sleep with that every night. Push the button before you go to bed. I would probably bulldoze. I mean, I've never been to Coronado Springs, but I feel like that's just going to be the one. Like, get rid of it. It's gone. It's the biggest one. And then Caribbean Beach, I would have my one fun night because they have a cool pool, and I feel like that's just more my vibe than Coronado.
Yeah, I like that. Mine are a little different. Well, I mean, not way different. My resort that I would stay at forever would be Port Orleans for almost the exact same reasons as Kristen's. We were able to stay there on. It was actually when I proposed, so that's really special. But also, it's. I mean, honestly, Riverside is awesome. French Quarter, everybody loves, and we have still yet to stay there. But if it's anything like Port or like Riverside, I mean, I'm sure it's awesome.
And we visited there now like 3 times.
Yes, very often.
So,
and I mean, again, you're also getting to it's kind of an easy one, kind of like 2 for 1,
Mm-hmm.
2 pretty decent resorts. But even if it was just French Quarter, I'd probably pick this. And then my one fun night would be Coronado Springs, because that tower is pretty cool. There's a restaurant up top, and there's a really cool bar at the bottom. And I feel like you could have a pretty fun night in the Grand Destino Tower. And this is also a resort that I've stayed at before. It is really spread out, and transportation can kind of be a bear. But I feel like if it's just one night and you're just hanging out and you're having fun, and all you're really doing is hanging out at that resort, they have the 3 bridges. Is pretty cool. There's literally 3 bridges that go out to like a bar type thing in the middle of this like pond lake type thing. They've got the biggest jacuzzi on property, which which is kind of like a weird thing, like weird claim to fame for a Disney hotel. And the pool is actually still pretty cool, even though it's just kind of like your typical square pool. But yeah, I've had a fond place in my heart for Coronado Springs, because I've always thought it was like the hidden gem. Like it's pretty much a deluxe resort that you can get moderate pricing for. Even though, like, if you stay in the tower, most of the time they're the most some of the most expensive rooms for moderate. But yeah, that's always what I've always thought is that Coronado Springs is kind of like getting deluxe with moderate pricing only with terrible terrible transportation. And then I would bulldoze Caribbean Beach, not for any particular reason at this point, because I've never stayed there and I've only ever looked at it. But it's just never really been very enticing for me. I've never really had a decent reason to go there. So that's my list, and I'm sticking to it.
So mine, I would forever stay at Coronado Springs.
Ooh.
Because club level.
Mm-hmm. Club level.
the Destino Tower has club level, and if I'm going to be there, I might as well have club level. So sounds good to me. We honeymooned at that resort and really enjoyed it way back when they did not have the tower. But we had a really good time walking around. They had these, weren't they like little condos or something, cabins on one end of the resort? Those are kind of cool. And it was a lot of walking.
Mm-hmm.
It was a very much a value decision. At the end of the night, we'd come back to the room and be like, do we walk up and get some soda in these refillable cups that were given to us? Or do we just call it a night? And sometimes we went and sometimes we didn't. But it was we were in the casitas, which is near the back of the resort. So it was a good mile, I think, to walk up there. But in the evenings, those evenings can be so nice and calm and peaceful that it was nice to have that walk.
Yeah, they have like all the hammocks out that you could lay in and stuff.
Yeah, all those hammocks are gone now too. But yeah, they had hammocks that you could hang out in on a beach. I don't think there were any barriers up so that gators could come and get you if they wanted, and it was nice and peaceful that way. Random thought. Let's see. My one night would have to be at Port Orleans because beignets. And Yeehaw Bob is over there, so that would be a fun night. And of course, I'm bulldozing Caribbean Beach. It's really big, and the couple of times I've been there, I've not been impressed. I guess not to say that it's a bad place; it's just not something that impressed me. So maybe we can extend Riviera out a little more and make more deluxe accommodations.
I'm conflicted on this one on how I want to go because Coronado, like you said, we stayed at for our honeymoon, so there's that, and I like it for that reason. But it's also one of the resorts that gets a lot of conventions in it, so I don't want to deal with conventions all the time. So, my forever to stay at would be Port Orleans for sure. Just I like the vibe there. It's fun. It's got good places to eat. It's got the carriage rides. There's a lot going on there. And I think I'd do my one fun night at Coronado then in Bulldoze, Caribbean Beach. Sorry.
So you heard it here first. You heard it here first, folks. Miles from Main Street, it's bulldozing Caribbean Beach.
Not me.
Kristen didn't.
Oh yeah, you're right.
I want to swim in the pool.
Kristen can swim in the pool, and then we will bulldoze it. Okay, so now we get to move on to our deluxe resorts. And we are doing the monorail loop of Contemporary, Polynesian, and Grand Floridian. Kristen, do you want to go or should I?
I want you to go.
Okay. I will go first. So, and I actually haven't even thought about this yet. I put the whole thing together and I haven't really given this much thought. But I think my one fun, I figured it out. My one fun night would be Polynesian, just because.
Whoa!
Actually, I have to say one of the most fun nights I've had was with the four of us at Trader Sam's. That was a lot of fun, and so I think just with Trader Sam's alone, you can have a pretty fun night. But then, I mean, there's also, you can sit at the beach and watch fireworks, and they have a pretty cool pool, and the rooms themselves are pretty great. And Ohana, that would be a really fun night. But now it's between Contemporary and Grand Floridian, and I have good feelings towards both of these resorts. And I mean, you've got Contemporary, which is Contemporary. It's just so classic And I remember when we took that boat ride to the back of Contemporary and we got off on that dock and just walking up to the Contemporary of like how cool it looked. And I was like losing my mind. I was like, this is so cool.
That was such a fun moment while I was watching your head explode. Because we, having stayed there, had kind of seen that view a few times, and it was fun to see that reaction from you. Just kind of like, this is so cool.
Yeah, it was like, yeah, my mind was definitely getting blown while we were doing that. So there's that, and it's also classic. It's just like classic Disney. The architecture is amazing. The monorail runs through it. But then on the flip side, Grand Floridian is so grand. Like, think about spending the rest of your life in this amazing grand hotel. There's several amazing food options. We didn't even talk about the food options at Contemporary. You've got Steakhouse 71 and California Grill, two amazing places that I've been to and I like. I think I'm making this decision, and it's tough because I have such great feelings towards the Grand Floridian, and just like being like that lobby during Christmas time was so cool. But I think I'm staying forever at the Contemporary and bulldozing Grand Floridian, mainly because I've been to both the restaurants at Contemporary, and I know how much I like those. And just the thought that like I've been to those places and I haven't had any desire to go to these other restaurants at Grand Floridian. That's kind of like what swayed me.
Well, we can't afford Victorian.
Well, that's true.
Alberts
Victorian
currently.
Yeah. But there's other places that we could have gone that we haven't yet.
Yeah. True.
And I mean, and it's not that we don't want to go. We definitely do want to go. It's just we've already been to the Contemporary ones. So that's kind of what swayed my answer, is knowing how much I like the restaurants at Contemporary. So
You like your steak.
I like steaks. Steaks are good.
I can go. So I would live forever at the Poly. Just find me in the entryway. I'm setting up a hammock and a lawn chair.
You'll be greeting everyone.
Right?
Just throwing lays.
Here's a day. Welcome to my entryway.
Right? So we've only done breakfast at Ohana, and we'll be doing dinner at our upcoming trip, and I'm sure I'll like it just as much as I love the breakfast there. So but yeah, you've got Ohana, you've got Trader Sam's. It's just a beautiful resort. It's pretty spacious. So I would do my one fun night at Contemporary. Yeah, definitely California Grill, watching the fireworks. We had a room where we could watch the electric water pageant every night, which was really cool. Kids loved the pool there. And I've said it to you guys before, and I'll say it again. I am just not a Grand Floridian type of person. It's beautiful. Like, there's no doubt it's a beautiful resort, but that's just not my vibe. I'm not fancy like that. So it's gone.
Well, we're on the same wavelength over here. Imagine that. I'm staying forever in a poly bungalow because it's awesome. And I am going to have there's not much more to say about poly, is there? I mean, I think the only thing I could say is coconut meatballs and Tonga toast. Otherwise, everything else has been said. You got the entryway, you've got that awesome lobby, you've got a great pool. Like you said, it's spacious. You can watch fireworks on the beach. So there's not much more to say there that you guys haven't already said. I'm going to have a wonderful night at California Grill and watching fireworks just like you. Maybe a nice dip in the pool later at night. But that would be my one night, and it's 3 out of 4 bulldozing Grand Flo. It's just too stuffy for me. I don't know. It's just got too stuffy of a vibe for me.
Kristen, what do you think?
All right. I'm going to stay forever at all of them. I'll alternate week by week.
So yeah, everybody go ahead and share the show.
Cool.
That's not how the game works, Kristen.
Okay, now do it for real.
Okay. I will stay forever at the Poly also because I like the beach. I will spend one fun night at Grand Floridian because if it were up to me, we would have gotten married at Grand Floridian and I would bulldoze Bay Lake Tower.
Bay Lake Tower.
And then also alternate and go stay at the Contemporary main tower. I can't decide. Decisions cannot be made.
What's the soap store at Grand Floridian? What's that place called?
Basin.
I thought you were. I thought for sure you were going to bring up the fact that there's a basin inside of the Grand Floridian.
I mean, I like Grand Floridian, but not particularly just for that. Like last year when we went on a trip, well, like almost a year and a half ago, we got to tour some of the rooms, and I think that like the new color scheme that they're probably leaning towards for like the whole renovation is really pretty. It's like blues and like Mary Poppins, and I like it. It's like very Grand Floridian, and I would like to be a Floridian. So,
and you will be
there we go.
grand when you're a Floridian.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I feel like this one, it was hard. I mean, especially hard for me. I feel like my one fun night picking Poly made a lot of sense to me, and then honestly, it could have interchanged between staying forever at Grand Flo and knocking down Contemporary, but then it's just so tough to actually do that to Contemporary because I mean I love all three of them for different reasons, kind of like the same way I love all 4 parks for different reasons. But yeah,
That's why you break the rules and you pick Bay Lake Tower.
I'm actually just gonna go stay at the Wilderness,
or you don't bulldoze any, you bulldoze some bare land and you create another deluxe resort.
Yeah, they're already doing that. They're building that one weird one that nobody knows what it's actually going to be.
But that's not like on
it's
Bay Lake
it's
or
not
whatever.
quite on Bay Lake. I think it's on
over
the
by
other lake.
The Wilderness.
Yeah.
You're talking about Reflections?
Yeah, Reflections. Yep.
That's a dead project.
It's dead, but I
think they've brought like the project back, just not like specifically Reflections.
Yeah, because I think somebody was saying that they were using Reflections art, or they're using whoever they commissioned Reflections for to do the new tower for Polynesian, because everybody was saying that it kind of looks like that same kind of architecture. But yeah, I've heard rumblings. I mean, you hear this all the time of like, oh, they're actually going to do Reflections now. But I don't think anything's happened to that land since they flattened it and completely got rid of River Country.
Bring
Maybe
back
someday.
River Country.
Yeah, bring back River Country. The old-fashioned swimming hole.
Might as well reopen Discovery Island while we're at it too.
There you go.
I was watching Ron and the boat driver that he had was like doing all of this like funny trivia, and he was talking about the wave machine. That is that on Discovery Island, or is that somewhere else?
No, that's out in Seven Seas Lagoon, because they wanted the waves the waves are coming up at Polynesian.
Yeah, but then it was like degrading the beach at Polynesian, so
Mhm.
they took it out. Yeah,
They actually
Discovery.
left it there, but then not too long ago, it was causing issues to the water or something like that, so they had to
Well,
take
wasn't
it
it
out.
like rusting? It's like it was just
Yeah,
rusting and decaying. Yeah.
yeah. And there's your one tangent for the night.
Your history tangent.
See, I didn't know we were going to have you were going to have ones for us to pick from. So I had a whole different scenario planned out in my head.
Yeah, I was expecting to just pick one for each category, and that's what we were talking about. So had I been able to bulldoze whatever I wanted, Old Key West was going. I was staying in the Dream Suite at Cinderella Castle.
That's where I was staying too. It's funny.
And then forever living at the Polynesian.
I was the same as you, except for I was bulldozing Boardwalk.
See, I your reasons are valid, Tammy, for not liking Boardwalk, but there are parts of it that I'm like, okay, this is actually kind of cool. Like the Boardwalk itself, like the
Oh yeah,
actual
the Boardwalk
board
itself is
walking,
cool. Yeah.
like walking on the board is pretty
Yes.
cool. Jelly rolls, the pizza window, which everybody always raves about that pizza, but like it's just kind of like beefed up resort pizza, to be honest. Like it was a little better than the resort pizza that we got. But just having a pizza window.
I wouldn't bulldoze the Boardwalk. I would just bulldoze the resort.
Boardwalk is Boardwalk. It's on Boardwalk.
Specifically, you would bulldoze the nanny chairs.
Yeah, well, yes, but also Boardwalk is. I put Boardwalk in the same category in my head as the Grand Floridian. I think it's too snobby for me. Like when we walked into the Grand Floridian and into Boardwalk with our kids, I was like in full on don't touch anything, don't even look at it mode in both of those places, especially in the Boardwalk because they have like knickknacks and stuff out right where they could touch them. And I'm like, oh my God, the stuff cost $1 million. Don't touch it. So it's just not like I would not be able to have a relaxing vacation at either of those places with our family. I mean, now I could that they're older, but when they were little, no way.
Have you ever gone and sat in the nanny chairs?
I kneeled by it to send you a picture the day that we looked at the gingerbread house. That was close enough.
The last time we were there, we sat in them like for a good while. That was fun. I liked that.
No, thank you. I didn't even know until we sent you that picture that they had feet with like toes.
Yeah, legitimate.
Like that
feet.
just made them more creepy. They did get rid of the creepy clown slide at least now though.
Oh my God, yeah. Wait, that was also at Boardwalk?
Yes.
Oh my God, they were just making Boardwalk crazy creepy back in the day. Kristen, what would yours be if there were no limits to all of this? What would your selections be?
I can't choose. It's too many options.
I mean, we're basically talking all deluxe, because that's what. Oh, actually, honestly, anywhere, because both Brian and Tammy picked the Cinderella suite.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Honestly, I think my one fun night would still be Polynesian. But then where to stay forever? That's a tough one. And we're talking anywhere on property, right?
Beach Club was right up there for me too.
Okay. What if I said this? My one fun night is Polynesian, but where I'm staying forever is Germany at Epcot.
Why Germany?
I don't know. It's a good one.
Why not Canada?
You know, I thought Canada.
And then you're like, nah, Germany.
Nah, Germany.
I mean, we
Beer
could
and
really
cheese.
yeah, the beer and the cheese.
and brats.
Well, I mean, I guess just saying World Showcase would be great, but Italy's another good one too.
I mean,
They
if we're
have
gonna go
good-
completely off the rails here, I'm going to Club 33.
Would that be your
I'm
one
gonna
fun
go to
night?
Walt's apartment.
That's Disneyland.
Yeah,
Actually,
Wrong podcast.
yeah, we have to develop the Disneyland edition of Miles from Main Street. That would actually, though, Walt's apartment would be pretty sick to like live in the rest of your life. And so there isn't one in World. They just have that.
The light.
The light is California also. I don't think they have a light in World, do they?
No, the Cinderella Castle Suite was meant
That's
to be
the,
Walt's apartment when it
yeah.
was first designed.
Wait a minute. Didn't he say on the last episode that we did that he was going to live in the house in Living with the Land?
Oh my goodness. Okay, new answers. Yes. Living in that house in Living with the Land with the dog, and that would be
Parking
glorious.
nonstop all the time. You'll never sleep.
And I would bulldoze.
The dog.
I would bulldoze Pop Century still.
I mean, so our last trip, we went to Old Key West to look for the resort holiday stocking pin, and we had never been. And we took the bus there from a park. I think we took the bus from Magic Kingdom, and we drove 20 minutes through this resort, like stopping at all these stops. We're like, we just want to go to the lobby, please.
Yeah.
It was a huge resort.
And isn't
Yeah.
Old Key West is that was supposed to be like that community, right?
That was the original DVC.
Yep. And you can tell because it literally just looks like
I mean,
condos.
It seems like
Yeah.
like condos, townhomes,
Yeah.
and like there's parking spaces that you can have your car, and that would be like a perk if you're gonna live there forever. Like then you have a car. I don't know if you have to work or not if you're living at Disney forever. We didn't specify those rules. But,
That's not a part of it. It's just
I
living
mean,
there.
what if you need a car to go somewhere?
You're already at Disney though, so the only reason I travel most of the time, the only reason I travel is to go to Disney. I travel to work so I can go to Disney. Those are the only reasons I travel.
What about to go to Target?
I'm probably taking whatever I got at Target to Disney. So
Old Key West has those tree houses. And at one time I thought it'd be fun to stay in one of those, but now I don't because they're so far away from everything that the one tip everyone gives you about those is to have your own car because then you can get places faster. Picking up a bus way out there is not easy. So it's not a place you want to be at if you're trying to rope drop to close all the parks when you're there. And it's partly why and the tree houses, like they're kind of cool, but the views aren't all that great. So I'd rather, if I'm paying that kind of money, I'd rather pay for the Wilderness Lodge cabins or the bungalows or something along those lines where you have a lot better views from it. So it sounds cool, and I have been there briefly, but when you're looking at all the deluxe resorts as a whole, that one and also Saratoga Springs just kind of stick out as the ones that are not as appealing as the rest.
yeah, I would agree with that. Especially, I mean, with Saratoga Springs, the only cool thing about Saratoga Springs is that it's so close to Disney Springs. That's really would be the only reason I would think about staying there. Other than that, well, aren't the Saratoga Springs rooms supposed to be bigger than regular rooms?
I don't know.
Yeah, probably something that I heard somewhere. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of the only thing Saratoga Springs kind of has going for it. Sorry, Luke. Luke is DVC and Saratoga Springs is his resort.
His resort, yeah.
Yeah.
It's the cheapest one to own, so.
Yeah.
So we want to know what your one-night stay, your lifetime stay, and your bulldoze in those categories would be. Come on out to Facebook. We're Miles from Main Street there in Instagram, and hit us up on our website, www.milesfrommainsst.com.
But like we always say,
Some live close,
but others don't.
Let's talk about it.
we'll see you next time on Miles from Main Street.